Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm Malicious Female Fan Steve Malicious here, back again with the Nokia 5.3. And as you know, it wasn't that long ago. What was it, about a month, 6 weeks that I was on here screaming up and down that we had not gotten our first of two promised major upgrades of Android on the Nokia 5.3. I was ready to get rid of this thing. I was ready to sell it. Nokia had broken their trust, the sacred trust that I've had for years with them. I was done. I wasn't going to buy another Nokia product until they went ahead and released Android 11 for this device. And then we got some rumblings. Got some comments on that video saying, hey, Android 11 had started to roll out in India on the 5.3. So I decided to wait. I said, you know what? Let's see. They're at least trying. And sure enough, not that long after, we received our notification that the Android 11 update for the Nokia 5.3, at least here in the United States, was ready for download. So I held my nose. I put my SIM back in and I said, you know what? I've complained so much about this device, but overall I like the thing. It's not coming from a position of hate. I like this device a lot, especially at the price point that it was at originally. So I'm just kind of annoyed that they didn't keep their promise to the consumer. They missed their Q2 second quarter deadline for this year to release Android 11, but here it was. Put SIM in. Let's see what they did. You know what? I gotta say, I gotta be fair. They did a decent job. The performance from Android 10 to Android 11, I didn't see a gigantic drop-off. We'll talk about battery life in a moment, but overall, I think they did a good job. I think the performance on the Snapdragon 665 is good. Everything that you're going to want to do on this device, you're going to be able to do it and do it well. So you can go through Twitter here, just see nice and easy. App works fine. No issues there. We'll scroll Instagram, pull that up. No issues there. You can see all the nice tech on there. No problem scrolling there. I know some issues. There were some comments on the last video saying that people were having issues in Android 11, not necessarily with stability with the Nokia 5.3, but on multitasking. And you know what? I can tell you, I didn't really have an issue with that. I got, well, let's see, pull up here, a Google search that we were doing. TJ Hooker, who doesn't search for William Shatner on a random weekday night? But we'll go ahead and pull this up. No issue here. I had no issue. I was able to close stuff if needed. And I was able to go through multitasking and not have an issue. So if you're someone who had an issue with that, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below if you're experiencing some instability on Android 11 on your 5.3. Now, there's a huge, when I talk about performance with my particular 5.3, there's a huge exception, or whatever, that I have to make note of here. Mine, in this lovely desert sand color, is the 6 gigabyte version of the 5.3. If you're running the 4 gigabyte version of the Nokia 5.3, I would love to hear in the comment section below what your experience has been so far. Because as we've seen with these budget devices, all this other stuff is nice. You can put a 90 hertz refresh rate on it. You can put a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, all the rest of it. But if you had to go for one spec on these budget devices, to me, it's RAM. So that 2 extra gigs of RAM is going to make a huge difference, because we're talking about a Snapdragon 665, lower end processing power, still a Snapdragon, but kind of their low entry chip with those 2 extra gigs of RAM. Really decent performance. I'm not gonna lie, decent performance with that. So let me know what your experience has been if you have the 4 gigabyte version of it, and even if you have that India specific 3 gigabyte version. I'm really curious to hear how performance is for you on that, because that you're really taking, to me, that any budget smart device, 4 gigabytes really has to be the minimum. It's the reason why I never got an LG stylus or Stylo 6. I never got a Stylo 6 because the 3 gigabytes of RAM scared me, even though it had that 1080p display. So I decided not to go with that, as Jean helps out with the sneezes, as she also always does sometimes. Okay, so let's talk about battery life, because that seems to be the thing that gets hit a lot with these devices. And to me, it's got to be the reason why so many manufacturers held back from releasing their Android 11 update, because it couldn't be that hard to implement it, especially when you're dealing with pretty much the same hardware across these devices, all using Snapdragons, all using this, all the rest of it. So I had to imagine it was implementing and optimizing battery life. Okay, 6 hours of screen on time is where I landed. If you get a little intensive with the games and the video, that kind of goes down to 5.5. And this is with me running this display at 90%. You could get away with 80%, but if you own this device, you know you're not talking about the brightest display in the world. So you might want to be running it in the 80 range, the 90 range. I mean, I typically run it up near 100, but I don't need 7 hours of battery life on this device because I'm going to charge it, use other devices. But if you're someone who does, maybe you put this down to 70, try to extend that above 6 hours. That could be done. I think, from what I remember, they're saying 2 days of battery life. You could kind of get 7 or 8 hours, stretch that on Android 10, which would give you 4 each day. It's kind of realistic. But on this one, I'm thinking you're going to be right around 6. Now, if that's a deal breaker for you, that's entirely possible. If you were looking at this as just like kind of a battery beast, and it is running only a Snapdragon 665, it's only pushing a 720p display. So you'd think that combination with a nice size battery should get you decent battery life, but you're looking about 6 hours here. But on the whole, I got to give them credit. There wasn't a big performance drop-off, if any. It might even be running a little smoother from Android 10 to Android 11, which a lot of people struggle with. And I tell you, some manufacturers got hit a heck of a lot harder on battery life than just this little bit. Getting up over 6 hours on Android 11, trust me, is absolutely an accomplishment for a lot of manufacturers. I know it sounds silly, and it sounds like, well, all these devices, but if you're coming from a device that wasn't based off of Android 11 and it's going to Android 11, a lot of them struggled. And had massive issues with that. So you could tell that right away, this is something that they at least put the effort into. They weren't just completely wasting time, or it wasn't an Android 1 issue that was perhaps holding them back. It was them working on it, hopefully optimizing it. It seems like they've done that here. But let me know if you have the 3 gig version, 4 gig version, all that stuff. If you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-alicious day.